Okay guys, it's Bobbie, and this morning I am working on my Craftology project. I'm just getting started. I have, with the kit came, I think it was 5 pieces of lightweight chipboard, and I cut 2 of them to make a front and a back birdhouse shape. And the total, piece is 10.5 when I was done. I marked it off. I cut it down to 6, and then I marked the center at 3, and I came down 3 inches on each side and then just cut my slope off. I went around the edges with weathered wood. If you bought the kit, you probably got one of Tim Holtz's small distress inks or oxide inks. I told her don't worry about putting that in my kit since she was short, because I've got plenty of ink and I just used what I had. So I did use weathered wood, but you can use any gray tone, or depending on what sheet you want on the outside of your birdhouse. I'm going to use, it's a blue check, blue-gray check. I'll show you what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this one on the outside of my birdhouse, which goes really well with the gray cardstock. She does have a real pretty one in here that's kind of a tan color. It's a stripe, and you could use it with, where is it? I'm trying to find it here. It's in this stack somewhere. You could use it with the craft or with white. It's really pretty. Oh, here it is. This would be real pretty on the birdhouse too if you used it with craft color cardstock. That would be real pretty too. These papers are just gorgeous. So, anyway, I'm going to set these aside. They've been inked. I'm building my pages, and they're going to go like this. I know it makes no sense at this point, but it will as we go along. Page 1 will attach to the inside of the house shape. This one will then bend back this way, and the next one will attach here, and it'll just flip-flop back and forth. So that is the game plan. It's going to be really cute when it's done though. So to build each page, you're going to need a 9x9 piece of cardstock. Place a 1-inch spacer at the top. I have attached score tape to my pieces that are 7 by 5.5. And these do not have to be inked. Oh, this thing is contrary today. Maybe I got it. And I'm just going to ballpark it pretty much in the center of this. And lay it down so that I've got 1 inch at the top and at the bottom. Leave your spacer intact for a moment. Now I've got some 1/4 inch spacers, and I'm just going to use glue for these. And I'm still using this Barely Art glue, but and I'm just going to leave about 1/8 of an inch between my spacer and the little page piece. About like that, and glue's fine for this because it's so tiny. And then I want to add one to the other side. Same. We don't need much space, but I want to be able to add something to the pages, so we need this little space so that we can embellish it a little bit, not heavily, but a little bit. Okay, now we need to roll the top and the bottom. We're not going to cut it just yet. No corners cut out here. like we do on a mini album. So I'm going to add 1/2" score tape to each of these right along the edge. It's really easy to build this. It just takes a lot of paper because you need 1 sheet of cardstock for each page. And you'll have a lot of scraps left over that you can use for embellishments or belly bands or pockets or whatever. So don't throw those pieces away that you cut off of these. Hang on to them. Okay, there's that. Now, we're going to pull this one off. If I can get a hold of it. Wastebasket. And we're going to run glue down in here. I don't go all the way to the edge because I don't want it to seep out, and we're going to cut some of that off anyway. I'm going to trim it. Now push it into your chipboard and lay it down. And give yourself a good burnish. And go right up beside your little chipboard hinge and then in this little fold. Okay, we'll do the same thing to the opposite end. Make sure you don't have any score tape hanging over there. I don't suppose it's going to hurt if you do because it's going to be inside anyway, but it's just a good idea to watch your edges. Okay, push it into your chipboard and lay it down. Get in your little fold here, press that down, and then up in here. Don't want to tear your paper, but you want a good seal in there. There we go. And let's roll this towards the edge. And this one the same way. So we get an edge along that little spacer. You can pretty much burnish the heck out of this artisan. It's really durable. Okay, now let's roll this in on our little fold there, our little spacer. And burnish that too. Just kind of work it over with your fingers till you get it to lay where you want it. Cute. Okay. I'm not going to add them to the album yet because I want to put my paper on the outside first. But this is going to go on the inside like this. And then this one will flap down like this. And this will attach to this, like this. But we're going to trim them so that it will, actually we're going to turn it over this way so we don't have any. See, your hinges will match up there. And then it will go like this. And then the next one we'll do just the opposite. We'll go back this way. Make sense? Look it up. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to trim just a little bit off of each one of these. Just not too much. you can go about out to the, almost out to where your fold is. Probably wouldn't hurt if you went all the way to the fold. I didn't, but, and you don't want to trim where your spacer is. You want to start after your spacer, just a hair after, because you want to be able to attach it all the way to the end. And just like that. So there's one page. Okay. And the next page, and I'll trim them all, and I'll be back as soon as I get all my pages built, and then we'll put them together. Alright? Okay guys, I wanted to let you know that after putting a couple of pages together, I felt like if I had the hinge or the spacer in every page, it was going to be too much bulk. So this second page, no spacer, and then the next page, a spacer. And I have these two attached. I'm using this Barely Art glue, but it takes a while to set up, and it'll let my spacer pull apart if I try to work with it right now, so I've got to let it dry. But then this next one, where we have no spacer, will attach to the one with the spacer, and you'll match this score line up with this one and attach it just like so. So we need to put glue. I'm going to quit using this Barely Art glue because I'm not very happy with it. I'm going to use it on this one, then I'm going to go back to the art glitter glue. It comes up too easy. You have to wait a really long time for it to set up. So here's glue in this little track. And it may be a good idea to use a piece of score tape in there too. I may try that for the next page, because I get impatient and I want it to stick, and it doesn't want to stick. Okay, so we're going to turn it over and attach these two. That seam with this seam. Let me see if I got it straight. I'm going to put it in my scoreboard here and line it up. Make sure I got my seam matched up. I think I do. Let me turn it over and see. See, it'll want to come apart. My seam is matched up there and there, so I'm okay. So I'm going to burnish this. And like I said, I've got to let it sit a while. It's irritating. I think the next page I'm going to try a piece of score tape in that hinge. Now you need to find your 1/4 inch spacer in here. I think I'll wait till it sets up a little bit. And we'll burnish the other side too. There we go. Okay. Now you can add as many pages to this as you want. I'm not going to add a whole terribly lot because it's going to be a fairly small project. Where's my other? You know what? I don't think it's matched. Now it wants to stick. I don't think it was matched up very good. I'm going to re-glue that one. It'll be okay. I don't think I had my hinge perfectly matched. It was not making me happy. Okay, this goes to there. And this goes right there. Okay, that's better. Now, let me lay it down and make sure I've got it straight. Push it down just a hair. Ah! Dang it. I'm having a time, guys. There it is. Okay. Jeez. There we go. It helps to have a straight edge here. Dang it, that's not quite right. There we go. Okay. We good now. Let's turn it over and burnish the other side. Okay. Once again, we gotta let it set up. But there is one score line and the other one is right here. Just want to make sure I can find it. Oops. Okay. Okay. So much for barely art glue. I'm done with it. Not doing it anymore. Okay guys, I have put 4 pages together, 2 with spacers and 2 without. This one keeps wanting to pucker. I don't know, this barely art glue. From here on out it's retired at my house. I ain't using it anymore. I'll get it to stay. However, these are going to be your pages. And it's going to attach to the inside of the front cover. I'll need 1 piece of gray to cover this. It will sit inside here, and then here will be your back cover. And I will attach ribbons probably to these 2 ends just to tie it closed. But the first thing I want to do before I add the pages is I want to cover the front because I want my paper to go all the way to the edges. So for that I'm going to get score tape and cut a piece of paper, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've attached my score tape sheet to the front and I just cut around it with a craft knife. Now I'm going to add the plaid that I showed you I wanted to use, if I can get this to come off. Alright, I'm going to put, this is my outside, so I'm going to put it face down. And I'm going to put this right along the edge, making sure I have some space at the top. And I'm just going to cut that with a craft knife. Perfectly straight. There we go. Right along the edge of the chipboard. Down the side. And across the bottom. Maybe I didn't press hard enough here. There we go. Here's the front of my birdhouse. I like that. And I think it'll look really pretty with the blue. And I have all the, and look at these pretty flowers to go on the front of it. Isn't it pretty? So then we can add this to the inside. And I want it to be up from the bottom just a little bit, not a lot. But before I do that, I need to cover this little piece. I'm not happy with that barely art glue, but I'm going to work with what I've got. But I will never buy it. I promise you that. So let me put a piece on here and we'll start attaching it together. Okay guys, just a quick update. I have my paper added to the front and the back. I used this plain blue. It's kind of a glittery paper. It's got a texture through it. It's from My Colors that Tammy carries. It is absolutely beautiful. Here's the piece I cut it from. It is called Glacier Blue, and it's a flat kind of matte on the back side, and then on this side, I don't know if you can see the sheen and sparkle to it. So pretty. I thought it would be really good on the back side. And I have attached my pages to the inside. Here's the back, and it's up under here. See if I can peel this back just so you can see. I haven't picked out my pages for the inside, or my papers for the inside yet, but I wanted to show you so you can see how it's attached. Right there is how it's attached, just right to the edge. And then I have put my score tape sheet and lined it up just shy of the score line, and then used my craft knife to cut around. And then the front is the same way. So that is the album cover. That gives you 4 pages front and back. And I'll be embellishing those and designing those here shortly. There will be a, where's my roofline pieces? Let me find them real quick so I can show you. Anyway, oh, here they are. I have a roofline piece, and I'm going to glue 2 pieces together to form the roofline of this little birdhouse, and they are 1.5 by 7, and I'm going to glue them together, and I'll wrap them with this gray, but I'm going to put them up here at the top. Once I've glued them together, and then I'll attach them this way to get my peak and wrap them in gray, and they are going to be attached only to the front portion, so that when I open the front, the roof will come with it, like so. It looks good. Okay guys, we're going to continue on. We have the album base constructed. I did cut out some little circles with some dies I had, and I did it 4 times with this ring with 2 of the smaller ones. I'll show you. There's just some dies that I had in my stash, and I put 2 of them together like this so that I could get these rings, and I did that 4 times, and I'm going to stack those together with glue. And then I put one of the dark ones in the background so it looked like it was dark inside the little house. And then I used the small circle and the scallop circle to get this piece for the front. And then I took a little piece of, I think it's 5/8 inch wide and 3 inches long, and I just rolled it up and secured it with glue, and that's going to be my little perch sitting out here, which I'll attach all this later. But right now I'm going to set this aside because what I've been working on is the roof line, and I want to show you that. I was going to make it 1.5 inches, and I changed it to 2 inches, and I laid it along the top of the house to make sure I got the right angle, and then I took little pieces of just basic printer paper and glued it so that I could get the right angle. Now underneath, I'm going to see how it overlaps a little bit. That's because that's what it has to do when it's on the top. So I'm going to add some score tape here. Just shy of the edge so I don't have any overhang. And I'm going to press that down, and then I'm going to put this back into position so it stays like that, and I can cut off any overhang that I might have. And then I want this to fit into that really good so I get a good seal. And then I have another piece here, and it's going to be too long, but I can trim it off. And I just made it just shy of the 2 inches, so hopefully I won't have a lot of tape overhang to deal with. I shouldn't have any, but who knows. I may have to do a little trim work. Yeah, I do right here. So I'm going to get my knife out. Oh, it's already out. So I'm going to trim that off right even with the edge. And I've already inked all of this just like I did the album covers. And I'll put this back on here. I might need it later. And then I'll trim this up. Piece off of there. See if I got any more. I don't see any more. So it went on there pretty good. Alright, now this needs to be stuck really good. Alright, I'm going to peel this off. I'm using both layers and I don't want that. I can get a hold of it. My poor nails break. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to put this back into position. And I'm going to lay this paper that I want on the inside of the roof. And I think it's going to be just a little bit wider than what I want, but that's okay. You can always trim it. I'd rather have it too wide, and I'm going to shove it all the way up in there. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And that rolled up on me. Let me get my art glitter glue and put a little glue in there, because I've got one spot that the score tape rolled up on me. I want to make sure I've got good coverage. I'm not using that Barely Art glue anymore. Very unhappy with it. And I'm going to push this up just as close as I can get it. So that's going to be the roof line underneath. And see, it will sit in here like that. And it'll fit perfectly on that roof line. Okay, so now let me trim this up, and then I'm going to attach score tape sheets on the outside, and I've run some pieces of the cream color she sent me through a brick deal, and I'm going to put that on the outside so that it looks like shingles or bricks, whatever, tiles. That's going to be the roof line. So let me trim this up here. These little pieces, they're awfully small, so I'm not going to worry about saving them. Oops, got off track there. Turn it up a little. There we go. If you get off course at all, you can go back with your ink pad and touch up the edges if you happen to nick your chipboard. There's that one. I'm just pushing the chipboard against the knife, but not pushing the knife into the chipboard. It does make a difference, because if you push your knife too hard towards your chipboard, you'll cut into it. See how I got a little bit of the, where it was kind of raggedy there. Come on, turkey. There we go. Now this one. Okay. So there's the inside of our roof line. And when I get done on the front, I'm going to put a little rickrack border. If you've ever seen some of the older vintage kind of, I guess, European style homes, they a lot of times have this rickracky design along the eaves of the roof. And I thought I would do that with that goldish color to match the little bird window porthole thing. So there, that's going to be that. Okay, I will go ahead and add my piece to the outside, and then we'll start working on the pages. Alright. Okay, I am putting my flaps and what have you for additional pages on the inside of this album. I have attached score tape to the inside just like we did the outside of the cover, and added my paper. Now I have cut my pieces for the inside, and I will decorate it off camera because it takes too much time otherwise. But I wanted to show you what I'm going to attach. This is a piece that is 5 by 6, and I'm just going to ballpark it centerways of this first page. Now there's 4 pages on the front, 4 on the back, so it's going to repeat itself. Like page 1 will be the same as page 5, and 2 the same as 6, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to ballpark this just shy of that fold line and try to center it from top to bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just like so. And then this little piece is going to be your fastener, and will most likely have a magnet there. If you want to use Velcro, you can use those. I don't care for them because you can see them, and they just don't look eye-pleasing to me, but there's nothing wrong with them if that's what you want to use. Totally up to you. Let's wipe that glue off. So that's going to go there. And let me see, I don't have any magnets out. I can add those in a minute. Then on page 2, now see, I used that Barely Art glue, and I am not happy with it at all. Not happy with it at all. So I won't use it again for page construction or covers because it just doesn't hold up as well. But it might be okay for cards or something with less weight to it. But for this, I have struggled with it, and I wanted it to give it a really fair shot because, you know, it's something new, and it was sent to Tammy, and she sent it out to 4 of the designers, and I have communicated with some of the other designers, and I find that they're not really thrilled with it either. So it's not just me, and you never know in the beginning if it's just you, but it's, in this case, I know it's not because everybody's having issues with it. Now for art glitter glue, which is my preference, and it's this one, if you haven't used it, Tammy sells it in her store, and to me that's the best liquid adhesive there is. Of course, that's just my opinion, but a lot of people agree with me. They prefer it as well. Now this little piece is 1.5 by, I think, 4 1/4. It's on your cut list. And this is going to be a little tuck spot. I'm just going to kind of center it down at the bottom. It's going to hold that upper flap shut. Oh darn it, I forgot to, let me grab that. I forgot to punch this edge. Everything else is punched but this one. Whoops. Didn't get that one real good. There we go. I think the humidity's got my... Let me put a little bit more glue on it now. Anyway, like I was saying, for cards or things that don't have a lot of weight or stress on them, a lot of weight to the pieces where you've connected several things, putting weight on it, you know, it might be okay. But the only problem with art glitter glue is you can't ship it below freezing weather, because if it freezes, it ruins it. I'm going to see if I can No, I can't get any glue under there. It's just puckered. Hopefully my design paper will take away from that. Just really aggravating, I'm telling you. Now there will be something. Once I get my design paper on here, then I'll glue these little edges down so this just becomes a tuck spot. You won't need a magnet there. On page 3, there's going to be, excuse me, a double belly band. We'll be able to put several inserts in this one. I'm just going to ballpark it pretty much at the center. Attach it at the top and the bottom. And then this one was 3 by 8. This one is 1 by 8. And then you score a 1/2 inch at the top and the bottom. And like I said, it'll be on your cut list. Anyway, and on this glue, it says that you can ship it in freezing weather and it doesn't hurt it. So I'm wondering if maybe whatever they've added to it to keep it from freezing is what causes it to take so long to set up. I don't know. But, you know, I struggled with the cover and I've never had trouble with a cover before. Not like I did this time. It's just, it was really aggravating. Really aggravating. But I got through it. But the thing that makes me not happy is these little seams where it wants to pucker. It's really aggravating. And then on the last page, I need a piece in here to cover this. So I'm going to put a piece of the gray down. Sounds like maybe the grandsons are coming back home. It's supposed to rain today and they work outdoors. I keep hearing doors outside. They may be back already. Just put it to the edge of your little chipboard where it doesn't show. You don't want to go over that score line. You just want to cover your chipboard. Okay, and then we will have a flap at the top. This one measures, I don't have it written down here. Let me see. It measures 4 by 6.5, and it's scored at a 1/2 inch. And I used the We Are Memory Keepers corner punch with a scallop for these edges. Is your boy back, Roxy? Is that why you're whining? Roxy's having a fit. She loves Don Wayne. Alright guys, that's enough barking. Kiwi's moaning and groaning. I don't see anybody outside. I don't know what they hear. Something. Okay, and then we have the piece that is, let me see, 10 and a half, I think. Yes, 10 and a half. Looks like my edges are a little bit rough there. Let me trim that right there. Hush, Kiwi. And this one is going to sit down at the bottom, just shy of the edge. And I'm just going to glue it 3 sides so it can become a pocket. But it, oops, won't be a real deep pocket, but it'll be deep enough you can put a photo mat or something in there. So we want hush, just shy of the edge and down close to the bottom. Just like that. Nice and straight. And then we have 3 pieces that are 5 3/4 by 3. And I'm going to put this one just shy of that edge, of that score line. so that it lines up with the top of the first one. And we'll put one more right on top of it. That way we'll have 4 little pages down here at the bottom, plus the pocket, plus the flap, so there'll be a lot in here. I'm going to set that right on top of it. Making sure we get it lined up. Let's close this one, and we'll put the last one on top of that one. And then we can alternate them. Now I will be cutting my design paper and putting this together off camera so that I don't take too much time, because it takes me a while. I have to be honest with you. I'm not fast at it, but I have to take my time and think out what I'm doing, otherwise I'll make a mistake and then I'm mad at myself. Okay, so it goes like that. This flap, this flap, this flap, and this flap. And then there'll be a magnet holding this down. Now for the tie, I'm going to punch 2 holes here and here with the crocodile and put a string closure. I'm going to make the ribbon extra long so that I can wrap it around and then tie it over here. So that is my plan. I have my little what do they call, perch set out here, and that's where that goes right there. But I didn't want to glue it down permanently until I'm done embellishing the inside, because then I can't lay it out. Plus the roof line, I showed you as I made this, I used what was called a brick wall and then embossing folder, and I just did my strips on that embossing folder, and then I went over it with some vintage photo, and then I had a little die to cut out this scallop, and I'm going to add that along the front of the roof line so that when it goes on it'll look like this. I think that'll be so cute. And I have a little door, I want a die that makes a door I want to put down here. So that's what I will be doing for the rest of today, and I will come back with the finished project and let you see how it all turns out. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll be back soon.